Weekly hiking tips. Choose baby-friendly trails. Opt for trails suitable for strollers or baby carriers. Look for shorter, flatter routes with even terrain and minimal hazards. This will ensure the safety and comfort of your baby. Weekly hiking tips. Invest in a quality baby carrier. Use a comfortable and secure baby carrier designed for hiking. Ensure it provides adequate support for your baby's head and neck and has a reliable harness system. Weekly hiking tips. Dress your baby appropriately. Dress your baby in layers appropriate for the weather. Bring extra clothing, including hats and mittens, to keep your baby warm during breaks or in case of unexpected weather changes. Weekly hiking tips. Keep your baby hydrated. Bring enough water or formula to keep your baby hydrated throughout the hike. If breastfeeding, ensure you stay well hydrated yourself. Weekly hiking tips. Protect your baby from the sun. Shield your baby from the sun's harmful rays by using a sun hat, protective clothing, and baby-safe sunscreen. Ensure the baby carrier has a sunshade or use a light blanket to provide shade. Weekly hiking tips. Pack essential baby items. Pack diapers, wipes, a changing pad, and any other necessary baby items in your backpack. Be prepared for unexpected situations and always carry more supplies than you think you'll need. Weekly hiking tips. Choose the right time. Plan your hike around your baby's schedule, taking into account nap times and feeding times. Try to start the hike after a feeding so your baby is comfortable and less likely to get hungry or fussy on the trail. Weekly hiking tips. Take breaks frequently. Take breaks more often than you would when hiking alone. Give your baby time to rest, eat, and play. Take advantage of scenic spots along the trail for breaks and enjoy the surroundings. Weekly hiking tips. Be mindful of your baby's needs. Pay close attention to your baby's cues. If your baby seems uncomfortable or unhappy, be prepared to cut the hike short. Your baby's well-being should always be the top of your priority. Weekly hiking tips. Stay prepared for emergencies. Bring a fully stocked first aid kit that includes baby-specific items such as baby pain reliever, teething gel, and a rectal thermometer. Know basic first aid for infants and what to do in case of an emergency. Weekly hiking tips. Have a backup plan. Be prepared to turn back if the hike becomes too challenging for you or your baby. Have an alternative plan or a nearby exit strategy in case your baby becomes fussy or the hike is too strenuous. Weekly hiking tips. Plan your route. Before hitting the trail, research the route thoroughly. Look for difficulty, length, and terrain to ensure it matches your skill level and preferences. Also, check the weather forecast and trail conditions. Weekly hiking tips. Wear proper footwear. Invest in a good pair of hiking boots or shoes that offer ankle support and have a sturdy, well-gripped sole. Ill-fitting shoes can lead to blisters and discomfort, potentially ruining your whole hike. Weekly hiking tips. Stay hydrated. Bring enough water for the duration of your hike and then some. Hydration can sneak up on you, especially in hot or high altitude conditions. Consider a larger hydration pack or water bottle and drink regularly throughout the hike. Weekly hiking tips. Pack light but smart. Carry the essentials like a map, first aid kit, and extra clothing layers, but avoid overpacking. The weight will slow you down and make the hike more strenuous. Weekly hiking tips. Dress in layers. Dress appropriately for the weather and wear moisture-wicking fabrics. Layering allows you to adjust your clothing as you warm up or cool down during the hike. Weekly hiking tips. Bring snacks. High-energy snacks like nuts, dried fruit, and energy bars can help maintain your energy levels throughout the hike. Don't forget to pack a hearty lunch for longer treks. Weekly hiking tips. Use trekking poles. Trekking poles can provide stability and support, especially on uneven terrain and steep inclines. They can also help reduce the strain on your knees during descents. Weekly hiking tips. Be mindful of wildlife. Respect the wildlife and their habitats by observing from a distance and not leaving any food or trash behind. Be aware of the area's wildlife and take precautions, such as carrying bear spray if necessary. Weekly hiking tips. Take regular breaks. Listen to your body and take short, regular breaks to rest and refuel. It's better to pace yourself and enjoy the hike rather than pushing too hard and burning out too quickly. Weekly hiking tips. Leave no trace. Follow the principles of leave no trace by packing out all trash, staying on the trail, and respecting the wildlife. Leave the trail as you found it or better for the next hikers to enjoy. Weekly hiking tips. Know your limits. Start with shorter, easier hikes and gradually work your way up to more challenging trails. Don't attempt a difficult trail unless you're confident in your abilities and experience level. Weekly hiking tips. Learn basic first aid. Knowing basic first aid can be invaluable in case of injury. Take a course or familiarize yourself with basic techniques such as treating blisters, cuts, and sprains. Weekly hiking tips. Use sun protection. Wear sunscreen, a hat, and sunglasses to protect yourself from the sun's harmful rays. Even on cloudy days, you can get sunburnt, especially at higher elevations. Weekly hiking tips. Share your plans. Let someone know where you're going and when you expect to return. In case of an emergency, this information can be vital for search and rescue teams. Weekly hiking tips. Enjoy the journey. Remember to enjoy the journey and the beauty of nature. Take the time to appreciate your surroundings and the sense of accomplishment as you conquer each kilometer. Weekly hiking tips. Hike during daylight hours. Always plan your hikes during daylight hours to avoid navigating in the dark. If your hike takes longer than anticipated, having a headlamp or flashlight can be a lifesaver. Weekly hiking tips. Carry navigation tools. Bring a map, compass, or GPS device and know how to use them. These tools are essential for solo hikers to navigate the trail and prevent getting lost. Weekly hiking tips. Stay connected. Carry a fully charged cell phone or a satellite communication device for emergencies. Ensure that someone knows your planned route and when to expect you back. Weekly hiking tips. Be extra cautious. Exercise extra caution when hiking solo. Pay close attention to your surroundings and stay focused on the trail to minimize the risk of accidents. Weekly hiking tips. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, trust your instincts and err on the side of caution. It's better to turn back and try another day than to push forward into a risky situation. Weekly hiking tips. Check for trail restrictions. Before heading out, check for any trail closures or restrictions, especially during the hunting seasons. Ontario's parks and trails sometimes have restrictions or closures for conservation efforts or public safety. Weekly hiking tips. Be prepared for weather changes. Ontario's weather can be unpredictable, so dress in layers and be ready for sudden changes in temperature or weather conditions. Even in the summer, temperatures can drop quickly, especially in the evening. Weekly hiking tips. Bug protection. In Ontario, especially during the warmer months, bugs can be a nuisance. Wear insect repellent and consider wearing long sleeves and pants to protect yourself from mosquitoes, black flies, and ticks. Weekly hiking tips. Watch for poison ivy. Learn to identify poison ivy and avoid contact with it. It's prevalent in Ontario, and brushing against it can lead to an itchy rash. Leaves of 3, let it be, is a good rule to remember. Weekly hiking tips. Stay on designated trails. Stick to the marked trails to avoid getting lost or damaging sensitive habitats. Straying from the trail can harm the local ecosystem and may pose risks to your safety. Weekly hiking tips. Be bear aware. Ontario is home to bears, so it's essential to be bear aware. Make noise as you hike to avoid surprising a bear and carry bear spray as a precaution. Weekly hiking tips. Pack extra supplies. Bring extra water, food, and clothing. It's better to have more supplies than you need, especially if you encounter unexpected situations or the hike takes longer than expected. Weekly hiking tips. Choose the right footwear. Select sturdy, well-fitting hiking boots or shoes with good traction to navigate Ontario's diverse terrain comfortably. Trails in Ontario can be rocky, muddy, or have uneven surfaces, so appropriate footwear is essential to prevent slips or injuries. Weekly hiking tips. Mind the water sources. Be cautious about drinking water from natural sources, as it may not be safe. Carry enough water or purification tools to ensure you stay hydrated throughout your hike.